Welcome to our weekly meditation, the last one before the start of Lent. And last week we used Mechtild of Magdeburg as our example, I suppose, and I'm carrying on a little bit with her this week. She's just got so much wisdom to teach. As a prelude to Lent, she says, God speaks. When your Easter comes, I shall be around you. I shall be through and through you, and I shall steal your body and give you to your love. And this week, continuing with the overriding message from Mechthild of love, but using that in the context of some thinking about power. So we come to this time, our weekly time together, and we go through our own individual routine, our practice, our habit of adjusting where we're sitting, sensing our location in our room and on our chair or sofa, just bringing a focus to those points of connection, the floor, with the chair, with the space around us. And we either close our eyes or lower our gaze or use the image. And then we very deliberately take 2 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Using the breath to soothe us, to calm us, to center us. So keep a real focus on whatever aspect of the breath works best for you as you continue to breathe slowly and deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. However many counts you want to for the in-breath, but just hold for a count of 2 after your in-breath. And again after the out-breath, hold for a count of 2. As well as helping with the physiology of the breathing. This is also a point of focus, and if our minds have wandered at all, then bringing ourselves back just with that point of reference, that count of 2, will bring us back and allow thoughts to drift away. Perhaps we can add to the in-breath a sense of breathing in calm and breathing in stillness. And with the out-breath, breathing out any anxiety, any worry. Knowing that anything on our mind we can pick up after this meditation, but for now, allowing feelings, thoughts just to be breathed out, leaving that calm space of peace. So continue to breathe deeply, to breathe slowly, to breathe in peace. This last couple of weeks I seem to have come across the topic or the word power in a number of places. Colleagues said to me there's a lot of dominant power evident at the moment. World affairs, perhaps, but also sadly within parts of our religious organisations. And possibly we even see it closer to home, workplaces, families even. Dominant power, though, is power as being coercive, as controlling, as making others do your will or bidding even if they don't want to. Power as might, an old-fashioned word perhaps. But I think as human beings throughout history we've tended to this view as well of how we envisage power. The Church indeed has used images of monarchs, of kings to justify a hierarchical order. God, down to popes, to bishops, to clergy, to lords, to fathers. Like medieval rulers, God was seen as demanding obedience and loyalty. Mechthild, in the 13th century this was, also used royal imagery for God, but tended towards the feminine, empress, queen. But crucially, she conceived of power as a form of love. And so she understood those monarchical metaphors in a distinct way. God's majesty and omnipotence are related to the divine desire for intimacy with humanity, not for power as might. So for Mechthild, it's not sheer power that makes God divine, it is love. And this play between love and power is evident in the preface of her book, where God claims authorship of the book. This is from the flowing light of the Godhead. God claims authorship. I made it in my powerlessness, for I cannot restrain myself as to my gifts. A paradoxical way of describing divine power. Here, even God is powerless to contain God. God is powerless to stop giving gift to humanity. Since the divine nature is love, to stop this would require the unmaking of divinity itself. So God renounces power as might in favour of love. And at that point, let's just pause for a moment, come back to the breath, and just for a few moments contemplate that idea of power as love rather than might. And that God renounces power as might because God continues to give the gift of love to humanity. Power as love rather than might. Even God is powerless to contain God, because the divine nature is love. To do so would require the unmaking of divinity itself. God renounces power as might in favour of love. Now, Mechtild acknowledges that there is a kind of power that demands strict judgment and might leave the guilty to languish in their prison, but she withholds this kind of power from God. This is not because God has less power than these wielders of might, but because that kind of power is a distorted form. Out of love, God abandons the power to perpetuate suffering, because the deeper and more authentic power is what redeems, heals, and restores. Mercy is a different kind of almightiness, which can draw even those brutalized by sin and torment and trauma back into loving communion. Again, divine power allows love to displace might. And Mechthild herself exemplifies the idea of powerlessness, a state of which she comes to towards the end of her life, going blind and unable to care for herself. She begins to express deep gratitude to her nuns and the way they care for her. As a way she experiences God's love for her in her powerlessness. She wrote, "Lord, I thank you that since in your love you have taken from me all earthly riches, You now clothe and feed me through the goodness of others, so that I no longer know those things that might clothe my heart in pride of possession. So we're touching on that issue of pride again. And finally she said, Lord, I thank you that since you have taken my sight from me, you serve me through the eyes of others. And we go to our longer silence with music from Taizé, picking up a theme from Mechtild when she said, see and taste the flowing Godhead through your being. Feel the Holy Spirit moving and compelling you within, the flowing fire and light of God. And Taizé chant, Veni Sancte Spiritus, tui amoris ignem ascende. Come, Holy Spirit, ignite in us the fire of your love. And so we go to our longer silence, possibly using the words from this chant, or simply using the time, the silence, to be aware of your own thoughts, to be your own observer, noting and letting thoughts settle. Or meditating further, contemplating that idea of power as love. The Father abandons the power to perpetuate suffering because the deeper and more authentic power is what redeems, heals, and restores. Come, Holy Spirit, ignite in us the fire of your love. Come, Holy Spirit, ignite in us the fire of your love. So we gently come out of our silence. Perhaps noticing our breath, gently opening our eyes if they've been closed. Gently stretching. So we close with some further words from Mechtild of Magdeburg. The soul is made of love and must ever strive to return to love. Therefore it can never find rest nor happiness in other things. It must lose itself in love. By its very nature, it must seek God, who is love.